Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm back. I've had a miserable week this week. Bunged up with a cold, sore throat, sounding like Barry White, and I wouldn't have been much fun to listen to, I can tell you that now. Still quite full up with cold, but things have to progress. So I thought on today's episode, it's only going to be a shortish episode, I thought what we're going to do is take some of these male endlers out of this tank. There's hundreds of them in here now, and because we feed Vlad the particle food that I feed him quite a bit of coral food, different types of food, and it's very, very particular, and he misses quite a lot of it. So obviously these guys are in there for little hoovers. We've got Dyson in there as well. You can just see his little tail flipping about in the back there. He goes around and polishes all the rocks up, which he's doing a grand job, and all the endlers, all the little baby ones, get in amongst the rocks and they pick out all those little bits. But today we're going to give it a water change. Vlad's in his cave. You can just see his little antenna sticking out there. He's quite happy. I've got a bucket of water, 25 litres of clean dechlorinated water from my big carbon block filter from the shed, warming up. So what we're going to do is I'm going to get my netters. Now what I've done, I tend to feed these guys right onto the surface with the very fine food, so I'm always used to them coming up and taking it. So what I'm going to do is I've got a big net here. As you can see, if I go anywhere near the tank, they come straight up to me. Now I've got this big old net here. Now what I'm going to do is, when I go in, I'm just going to have one big gentle scoop in. I'm going to hold them where I want them, and then I can use a smaller little spoon just to flick out the males that I want to take out and put them into a bowl, which I've got by the side there. So we've got to get hold of some food. What I tend to do is put the net into the water after I shifted my little light across on the top a bit. And just sprinkle a little bit of food in on the surface like that. And now I've got them in the net, most of them. And I just keep going back. They're actually still feeding in the net quite happily. And I just keep going in. Put a little bit more food in. The males tend to be quite greedy, so I think I've got most of those in there now, to be honest. I'll stick a little bit of food in there for them. And then what I do is I'll just put the net to the side like that. I've got one male left in the tank. You can see all the fish in the net there. They're happy in there, quite happy feeding away. Most of the males I've got in the net, and I've just got to get my little bowl now. I think I can see one male that's escaped the trawl net, but we'll get him out. Or we might leave one in there actually, but I mean it doesn't make any difference, to be honest, because all them females are pregnant anyway, so you can take all the males out. Just like when you go to the shop, guys, and you buy an endler or a guppy or any of the live bearers, you normally find they come and they're already pregnant within a couple of days of the water change happening in your tank. They're going to drop a load of babies because that change in water parameters and things normally tends to kick them into gear, and they have them near enough after a couple of days of being in your tank. I don't know if you've ever found that with your guppies or endlers and things. When you've bought them, suddenly you've got a load of babies in there, and that's what happens. That change of water conditions and parameters makes them give birth. So I'm just going to let them settle for a minute. There's been minimal stress to them so far. As you can see, they're still quite happily feeding away in that little net. They don't even know they're trapped, and I can see one male in there. And I think I'll leave him in there actually, just one male. He'll keep them lot happy. So now I'm going to set you up and we'll go above and we'll pick out some of the males. Right, that's a better view for you. Now you can see them all in the net. Some very, very small ones in there as well. Now what I do is I'm just going to, you can see them all quite happy feeding there still. Now I'm just going to slowly raise. There must be 50 in there. Right, what I've got, guys, I've got a smaller net now. And now I'm just going to go in and pick out the ones that I want very carefully. I'm just going to lean that on the net. I'm going to pull that light forward a bit. Bring my bowl that way. Right, let me just pull you this way a bit. There you go, that's a little bit better for you. Now, what I've got is a smaller net. That's a bit better. And I'm just going to go in now with this net. Wet your net first. And then you can go in nice and slow. Every one that you don't want, you'll find will go in the net. And the ones that you do want won't bother. We're getting them. I'm just concentrating a little bit here. Probably going to end up getting a couple of little ones in amongst them, but I'll soon fish those out. Some of these are just starting to turn as well. You can just see a little patch of colour in the tail when they start to turn into males. Got a fair few in there now. I think the majority now are female in there, or some very, very young males, and I can't see that they're on the change as yet. Oh, there's one. I got him. Very, very slightly, just starting to change colour, that one. And all these females are all pregnant as well, so we're going to have a load more in there before long, and there's probably a little bit of stress that they're going through now. We'll probably make a load more of them give birth to. I think that's about it, I think. Lots and lots of little ones in there as well. And we can slowly lift the net and let them all swim out, and they'll be stress free as possible, returning them back to their little home. Always make sure you've got none left, because there's some really tiny ones in here as well. They're all out. And sometimes it's a good way, because when the males all go to the top as well, they'll all stay by the ones by the bowl, if you have a look. Because they all come up for, I think there's more food there. And you can nab a couple out that way as well, without chasing them all around the place. Right, we've got all the males out now, apart from that one that I'm going to leave in. It's quite funny actually, because when you're taking the males out, you'll normally find that when you get to the last one, you swear they know that you're after him, and he is just gone. I can't see him anywhere in the tank. I know he's gone in one of the bamboo in the shrimp hide down in the right hand corner of the tank here, and I can't see him anywhere. Actually, there's one little male there I might be able to get, which I've just spied, a young one, but they really do know when you're after them. Right, I've got that little guy. I'm just going to plop him in. Into there. Yep, he's in. So now we've got, well, I don't know how many we've got in there now. Let me have a quick head count if I can count them. They're very busy, so in fact I've got a couple of little females in there which I'm just gonna grab out quickly. Right, we've got all the males in there. I think I've got about 10 out of there for the bench tank, so that's going to be around 15 to 18 male endlers in there now. I want to breed up a nice little shoal to go in there, and we've done that at last. Between the last sort of month or so, couple of months, I've been thinking, sort of planning forward, trying to get some of these and breeding them up to go back into the bench tank to make a nice little school of those in there. So that should look quite nice. We've still got heaps of females in there and adolescent males as well, which are quite hard to distinguish at the moment. But you can just see the little tiny fadey, sort of very pale blue strip in the bottom of the tail, which tends to start first, in mine anyway, in this strain, which are the black bars. And but some of the females in here are massive. They're all ready to go as well. So what I'm going to do as well, guys, if you've got a big heap of them like this and you've got another tank that you want to separate them, put some in, take a lot of the females out, take some of the younger females out, put them in another tank, and leave the biggest ones that you've got in your main tank. And because you'll find when they will eat their young endlers, and when they're very small like that, if you haven't got a lot of cover in your tank, like we're okay here because we've got a lot of fern, Java fern and all the other plants in there which they can go in amongst and hide. And there is tiny little ones in there as well. Some of them are little kink tails and things which we'll have to take out later on. And we'll get another nice colony going, I think, in the shrimp room. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to take those, we'll take those out to the bench tank, we'll put those in there after we dripped them in for a while. And then we'll have a nice scoop full of these females out, I think, and we'll sort those out. And we'll put them into the shrimp room in my little odds and bods tank. There you go, I just thought I'd give you a little bird's eye view of them in their bowl. It's a bit scratched up. I've had this old Pyrex bowl for years for doing this sort of job. I can't count them, they're too busy. And I keep seeing the ones underneath in the tank, so it keeps putting me count off. But I think there's around 10 in there. 10 or 11 nice little males. So now what we're going to do, we're going to take them out. Even when you put your hand into the tank now, the females are coming up even after being in the net. They're as long as you do all your movements slow with fish, you'll find you'll have more success. If you go stabbing at them, they're just going to get spooked and go and hide in the plants. You're never going to get them out otherwise. But if you go slow, and when you put your net in to do any maintenance, make sure you put a little bit of food in there as well. That's what I do. And so they associate that net then with food, and you'll be able to catch things out a lot quicker, a lot easier, and a lot less stress for the fish and for yourself, because there's nothing worse than trying to catch something that doesn't want to be caught. You'll chase it, you'll turn the water to a foam trying to catch it, you lose your temper with them. But that's the best thing. That's what after all my years of keeping stuff, that's what I do, and it works for me. It always has worked for me, that one. Right, we're in the bench. The old moss is going absolutely mad. Look at the size of that moss now compared to my handler. Absolutely huge. You've got some of the other male endlers in there, and the old hatchet fish whizzing around the top there. They're all happy. They've had their food this morning. All the plants in here are absolutely going mad with that CO2. Very well. It's growing very well indeed. Really happy with that so far. But we're going to have to get in there maybe next weekend and give everything a bit of a trim up and tidy it up a bit. Right, I'm going to get these fish have been acclimating now for a little bit, so I'm going to take them put them into a net, get them all in one go, and then we're going to release them into the tank. Okay. Right, we got them in the net. And out they come. Go and meet your friends. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, I was right, we had 10. Make sure they're all out. Everybody's out. Lovely little school that is. Beautiful colour. Some of the colours on those. Greens, blues, oranges. And they're dull at the moment because they've just gone in. All the rest of the little endlers are coming up now to say hello. We've got another little gang in the corner here by the filter. You can see the greens and the vivid colours in these guys. And they're all going to come over and say hello to each other in a minute. Brilliant stuff. The shrimp are breeding well in here too. The yellow sakuras have gone mad, because I knew they would. There's lots of little crystal reds, crystal blacks in amongst this lot as well now. You can see a little one in the middle there. And there is, I couldn't tell you how many baby yellow sakuras in amongst this moss, because they go right deep inside it, obviously because of the fish when they're very small, for their own protection. And some of this Java moss has gone absolutely nuts on the floor here amongst the baby's tears there. You can see a lovely little clump of it there. So we're going to have to trim or pull some of that out to let the other stuff breathe underneath. I just love the way these guys do their runners. They hop from one to the other like that. Look at that. Absolutely fantastic. The old Subwazatang tree there. The light's a little bit bright for that, I think, in here. I might actually swap that out with some with a piece of that the Java moss from down the other end. I think that's so big now. If I take the top of this one off, you can see a big chunk of Java moss which landed on there, and it's growing onto it now. And some more at the back there, some big long fronds of it sticking off. So we can do a bit of a mooch around on that, a bit of a swap around, see what's going on there. Lots and lots of little sakuras there, full of babies, full of eggs. You can see them, they're all over the place now. Another little gang of them down here. And we'll probably have quite a few hundred in there, I would have thought. In another month's time, there'll be no end of them. They'll be popping up everywhere. They're going to they do better than the crystals. They're a lot hardier than the crystals, but I've bought these up through generations now, and they've really acclimatized to the water conditions that they're in. That's why I can keep them all together. I get the odd loss now and again, but it's I think everybody does in their tank. So there's lots and lots of them in there. What are these little endlers doing? We got a little pocket of endlers there right in the middle now, and a few have branched off over here now, and they're meeting up with this little gang over here. That's nice to see. Anyway guys, sorry about that Wednesday video failure, but I was a little bit under the weather and wasn't really up to much. Let me know what you think of the new intro. That's what I was doing while I was coughing my guts up on all through the week. I was just playing around with a bit of software and making a new one up, so let me know what you think of that. I know some of you like the old one, but I quite like this new one, so we're going to stick with that one for a time, and I might be able to get them a little bit better as we go along. I do like playing around with this new software stuff. Anyway, I think we'll leave it at that for today. I'll put the other endlers in the tank, the females. You've just seen me take the males out, so there's no point taking you guys all the way through that process again. But I'm going to put them in the other room, thin them out a bit, give that tank of water a change, and then everyone's going to be happy, and then we can get in here during the week then and trim this forest down a bit. Just put a bit of shape to it, maybe half that, and put a nice canopy on there, because the trouble is when you get it, everything grows so quick, and I know a couple of you guys have said just leave it, but by doing that you're cutting down the flow, because this tank, don't forget, it's 6 feet long but it's only 6 inches wide, so you need a lot of flow through a tank or you're going to end up with problems. I've got a little bit of hair algae up here starting because there's a lack of flow and movement going through, so you're going to get little bits of detritus and things building up on leaves, little pockets in between the joints in leaves like would be down there, and then that will start and that will colonize with algae. Then in no time at all you'll end up with loads of it in there. So it's really important, guys, okay, that you keep a good flow. If you see a lot of these aquascapes that people do, they put the aquascape in the middle or just off of the back, so they've got a flow going all the way around the tank, which keeps it nice and fresh and keeps that water circulating nice. If you start bunching things up against the back and in the corners, that's where you're going to start with your problems then, because you're not going to get adequate flow through those little areas, and you're going to get a build-up of algae, like say detritus, and that's just food for it. So you'll end up with hair algae and all sorts of blackbeard algae and all the things like that will start appearing all over the place, which is not nice and unsightly in your tanks, and it's not what we want to achieve. So always make sure you keep a good flow all the way around things. They're going to get a nice little shape up these underneath. Take some out underneath because you can't even see the tree, the trunks anymore, the trees. Apart from that one, you can just see it under there, but that's disappearing very rapidly. So we'll give them a good trim. Anyway guys, hope you like that little video. Well guys, I hope you like that little video, and like I say, I do apologise for the Wednesday one that I normally put up. If you're looking forward to that, thank you for you guys on my get well messages from Facebook. That was fantastic. Thank you all very much for that. I'm feeling a lot better now. Bit of the old man flu going on, but all the tanks are looking nice, all looking healthy. I found a nice piece of route for the better tank. That's looking super clear now. That filter's doing a grand job. I kept the water lower, but hopefully this Sunday we'll make a start on aquascape in this, which I'm really looking forward to. But I wanted to make sure I was up to speed and feeling right before I made an attempt, because it's not much fun doing these things when you're not feeling up to it. You're not going to do your best work either. So hopefully I'll be feeling better in a couple of more days. I'll go out. We're going to go out. I think we're going to source a lot of the stuff for this from the wild. So it's more of a DIY stuff instead of going out and buying everything. If I can do without buying something, I will. That's always been my way, and I think some of the stuff you can get from nature, like that little piece of wood there, is absolutely amazing. Look at that, lovely root system there from an old dead tree. Not sure what it was, but it's not a pine or anything, so we haven't got to worry about that. But I think it looks pretty funky in there, but we're going to do something nice with that one. Anyway guys, from me and the chaps in the tanks here, look after yourselves. If you're new to the channel, pop back, check out some of the other videos that I've done. May encourage you to subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit that notification bell for up and coming videos. Okay, then you're not going to miss anything, and you'll be notified straight away. Anyway guys, as always, love you all, you're all stars. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you on the next edition of Marks Aquatics. Bye for now.
Just me and my guitar.